Andy Thompson from Totally Driven, and this is JT Johnson, one of our employees here. He's a club fitter. And we're going to do an Adele wedge fitting today with JT. JT hasn't had a chance to go through that yet. We've been so busy. But what we want to do is illustrate, you know, with a good player here, JT, what a difference having the right wedge in your hand can do for you.
Okay.
All right. Well, we're going to just start with a traditional wedge here. We're going to start with a 60-degree wedge. You know, that's got 4-degree bounce, and we're just going to have you hit a specialty shot here and see what happens.
Okay.
Okay, so let me grab that.
Okay.
First of all, JT, I'm going to have you just make a swing for me. Okay. And just what I want you to do is hit about a 50-yard shot, and I just want to watch your technique for this.
Just a 50-yard. This is a
50-yard pitch shot, high pitch shot. Pitch shot. Yep. Okay. Looks like you've done that a few times.
Here and there.
Okay. All right, so I like your technique pretty well. If we don't get the technique that we're looking for, we don't want to fit to a flaw. So what we're going to do, if I see somebody that's not using the right technique, we're actually going to address that first, because I don't want to fit to a flaw here.
Right.
And this is just a specialty shot. Now I want to have you hit that same shot again here. And I'm going to put the ball on a lie board. Just same motion, JT. Okay. Now we're going to look at the bottom of the wedge here. We can see that scrape mark is a little bit before the flange here.
Okay.
And go ahead and hit that same shot, JT. Okay, so we still got a little bit too thick of a scrape there. Mm-hmm. So here's the difference between JT's first wedge here. This is a 4-degree bounce here. And you can see that there's, you know, a pretty big mark here on the bottom of the wedge. And he's actually made contact with that well before the ridge line of the bounce. So we went to an 8-degree wedge, and it tightened it up, you know, by about 2/3. Still not quite on the ridge line, but it got quite a bit narrower here. All right, let's try that one.
Okay.
Just focus in, back out, come back in. Feel like, I want you to feel like just trying, like, maybe you're a little bit heavier on the left side, 60-40 or something like that. So when you feel that.
Good, that's a little bit better.
Yep.
So here's the 8-degree that JT hit, and now we've had him hit the 12-degree bounce. And you can see that that's narrowed just a little bit more now, and it's a little bit more right on the ridge line. We're going to just see if we can tighten that up a little bit more, but we're making progress here. We want that scrape mark to be right on the ridge line. Okay. That was 12.
That was 12.
So I'm going to go to 14. You don't see too many 60 degrees with 14 degrees of bounce, do you?
No, not at all.
That's why I just wanted to get somewhere different and maybe go back and
Did I hit it?
Yeah, it's right on the bounce line there right now. They're about the same thickness here, but this is right on the ridge line, and this one started just prior to the ridge line. So what we're going to do now is just try a little bit more bounce. This is pretty good, but we're going to just try a little bit more bounce and see if that gets even better. Okay, so let's look at these two here. They're pretty similar. This is a pretty good illustration of a good fit here. This was a 14-degree bounce. Wasn't too bad. That scrape mark is right on the ridge line, but it's just a little bit thicker than we'd like to see. And when JT hit the trapper wedge here, 18 degrees of bounce, that scrape mark is narrowed and it's right on the ridge line there. So go ahead and hit some pitch shots, some full shots off the grass. Yep. Some chip shots, full shots. any kind of shot that you normally would want now. That was just a specialty shot. You're not going to use that style necessarily for every swing.
Okay. And then the lie's, if it feels like it's upright, the lie's adjustable as well?
Yes, the lie's adjustable. That scrape mark was pretty close. Here's the difference in these two wedges. This is more of a standard wedge. And you can see how the grooves start on this top wedge so much closer to the hosel. And the grooves on the Adele wedge start or extend so much more onto the toe of the club. Mike Adams, who works with Adele Golf and was instrumental in getting this whole process developed, was a player out on tour, and he said, you know, the funny thing is, you know, they designed these wedges with all the grooves towards the heel, but who wants to hit the ball here?
Right.
And wedges, a lot of times because you're swinging on an outside to in path, a lot of time the ball is scooting up the wedge like this because you're cutting across the wedge. Well, here you've got grooves here that are actually capturing that shot the whole way. Mm-hmm. I actually had a player the other day, a pretty good player in here. All of his scrape marks on a traditional wedge were out here. Some of the marks where you could see where he was hitting balls, there was not even grooves there where he was actually hitting balls. Yeah. So this was kind of eye-opening to him when he saw that. Sure. Another thing that's different here is on the Adele wedge, the grip extends down further. So we could see these side by side, and we've got another inch of grip here so that if you want to around the green, you can grip down and you're still onto a grip. JT's going to kind of show you some shots. You can hit a greenside shot where you don't want to hit much. So you're actually on the grip there, which is kind of nice. Right. So JT, what did you think?
It was very enlightening.
All right.
Yeah.
Never thought you'd be hitting solid shots with an 18-degree wedge, did you?
No, not in a million years.
Cool. Well, hopefully this helps all of you understand that there's a little bit more to wedge fitting than just grabbing one off the rack and hopping out on the course and hitting it. The grind of the wedge and the bounce of the wedge have to be suited towards the player. And it was pretty enlightening as we went through the differences that we saw as you started getting into the correct bounce.
Right, very much so.
Thanks for your time, JT.
Yeah, thank you.